Good afternoon, dear Theosophists. We are very happy to welcome you here at our research online seminar, The Secret Doctrine of Helena Petrovna Blavatsky. Today, in our research group, we have the following members. Mr. Pandey, International Speaker of the Theosophical Society, National Lecturer of the Indian Section, President of the Federation of the State of Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand, India. Mr. Ari Narendran, Theosophical Society of India, Blavatsky Lodge. Mr. Sergei Rashutkin, Doctor of Physics and Mathematics, Professor of the Higher Engineering Physics School of the St. Petersburg Polytechnical University, St. Petersburg, Russia. Annie Kelly, Theosophical Society of England. Mr. Han Kwan, Doctor of Philosophy, Professor of the School of Arts, South Korea. Mr. Sergei Kolganov, Candidate of Philosophy, Department of Moscow Aviation University, Russia, Moscow. Miss Ephigenia Kostamoniti, Theosophical Society of Greece, European School of Theosophy. Miss Michelina Foster, Theosophical Society of the United States of America, California. Mr. Konstantin Zaitsev, Allahabad Lodge, Theosophical Society of Russia. Dear listeners of the seminar, all of your questions and comments you can send today in our Q&A section. Of course, we will pay particular attention to it. And the following Theosophical quiz, which is issued every time following this seminar, will of course take into consideration all your requests, opinions, and questions. And following the questions of the research group and listeners of the workshop. So we ask you to engage, to ask questions and write comments, write your suggestions through this function of Zoom, through the Q&A function. The video forum Theosophical quiz with questions and answers has already been viewed following our 5 seminars by 3,500 people and more. So this is quite a well-known video forum, and of course such a number of viewers, well, it shows us the interest they have to it. So our seminar is for those who is already familiar with and have studied with works of Helena Blavatsky and other Theosophists, including The Secret Doctrine, but also for those who are really interested in the knowledge and want to know more about Theosophy. The duration of our seminar is 2 hours, so we ask you not to leave the broadcast. Let's respect each other's work. And also, please do not leave the broadcast immediately after all the speakers have presented their materials, because the comments of the research group are also, of course, very interesting, and they are very important, same as the presentations of our esteemed speakers. So please stay on till the end. Now we have translators working with us: Alexandra Budko, Sergei Nasetkin, Anastasia Palova, and Maria Panamarova. So we express our deep gratitude for their work, conducted when preparing the seminar as well. And we express our respect, our gratitude to all the speakers, listeners, and members of the research group.
We already have more than 100 listeners who have joined us, including members of the Russian Theosophical Society, scientists and public from different cities of the Russian Federation: Ufa, Omsk, Pechora, Samara, Rostov-on-Don, Saratov, Sochi, Moscow, St. Petersburg, Kemerovo, and other cities, as well as our colleagues from the United States of America, Korea, the United Kingdom, Brazil, Israel, India, Greece, Ukraine, Philippines, the Netherlands, Indonesia, France, Thailand, Mongolia, Nepal, Scotland.
Today, the 5th shloka of the first stanza of the Secret Doctrine is presented by the following speakers: Gary Kidgell, Theosophical Society of Scotland; Petra Meyer, Theosophical Society of Great Britain; Kishore Angale, Theosophical Society of India; Luke Michael Aronside, Theosophical Society of the Philippines. We wish all participants a fruitful work. So, the online research seminar, The Secret Doctrine of Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, dedicated to the study of the 5th shloka of the first stanza, is declared open. And as usual, I welcome the president of the Adamant Lodge of the Theosophical Society of Russia, head of the Moscow Theosophical School, Vladimir Meyer, to open our seminar.
Welcome to all of you, brothers and sisters. As usual, we'll start from presenting the energies of this day we're in right now, also energies of week, month, year, and century. But as we are talking a lot about this month, year, and century, we should concentrate on the day today. Let us imagine, today we should focus, and the focus is created by the following nidanas: century of the white dragon, year of the white bull, month of the white hare, week of the black rooster, and day of the red monkey. Following traditionally these nidanas, we should remind you, first of all, once again, from where it all came. All these nidanas, Kalachakra, how it came to existence, and we should pose attention to the fact that studying the Secret Doctrine that has been in process for more than 27 years right now, a serious study that it's done in groups, and due to this process we came to conclusion that all the stanzas make the planes of existence for us, and scheme of these planes of existence can be seen here. This scheme tells us that planes of existence are built, and there are 7 planes. These planes of existence have composed the Zodiac Signs. There are 12 such signs. All the 12 signs that we just take and put in the circle. You know that at the very beginning the Secret Doctrine describes that at the black background there was the white disk. We just took this disk and put there what is described in the Secret Doctrine according to the planes of existence. And here is the system written inside the circle. Everything described by HPB according to hierarchic approach, emanations, creation, and rays, all these processes exist here as chapters of the 12 zodiac signs. So these are gods symbolized by the highest nidanas, while the creation process, as there was Manvantara beginning, there were divine forces awakening, and they started to put together or to reveal laws according to which Manvantara will be created, or the day of Brahma will be created. According to gods, there were lives at these planes of existence emerging, because they brought their main idea of developing each plane of existence and of including all the zodiac constellations. The 7 main principles are in the center of the time wheel. It's symbolized by a tetragrammaton. According to the karmic law of humanity, there is the second row of nidanas symbolizing the 12-fold system, the 12 nidanas that can be corresponded to a movement of elements as material through which our conscious goes. That is the immutable law that cannot be applied anywhere, that cannot be changed by a human being, that can only be looked at by a person. A person can only look at it and change its conscious. And that is why there is also something that helps us in practical application of the secret doctrine in our life. We only follow these laws, looking at Nidana's compatibility, and we see how this will work year after year. It does not go away from description by HPB in no way, it just works. As soon as we noted that while applying the laws, according to the laws application, we got the practical application in life and understanding of the fact that the law will anyway be realized, will reveal itself. And what is required from a person? It is attention. According to this attention, we can notice the time we have according to the wheel of time. Then this wheel goes to the third eye, if we imagine it. If we imagine it during the meditation. While creativity of our thought emerges, and we are always ready to meet any obstacle, because basically we know this obstacle according to this Nidanas combination. What I've said today, the white dragon is the symbol of the white color, it's the symbol of element, and the dragon symbolizes wisdom and being. The dragon also symbolizes the karmic mediator. It is also very important, and we should keep that in mind, because we are talking about the century, and the century denotes the whole 100 years. When we take and perceive the century in the right manner, we will perceive in the right manner any obstacles, no matter what nidanas are combined. We'll see the right obstacle. It is based on the idea of improving the existence, or in other words, to make the wise application of our thoughts, of our words, to apply them to our life in a reasonable manner, in a wise manner. And the dragon says that if we live in a wise manner, then the existence and our understanding of this existence will change according to the unchanging law symbolized by the dragon of wisdom. And the element symbolizes the particular ending. It is a wisdom that has its end, and the dragon can give us in this century opportunity to become wise, because we will be able to take the fire of the space, we'll be able to attract it, and we come to the same vibration of wisdom, because there is such a vibration. When there is peace or calmness of our consciousness, we can use our attention to notice this space fire, and by it we can transform our thoughts, our conscious, and our perception. That is how, in a wise manner, we can move according to the evolution. And the dragon gave us such an opportunity. It is the century, the year of white bull. It is a very important year. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you even more than I was thinking. The white bull finishes direction of space that tells us about turn of the teaching wheel. This turn starts from the fire dog. The fire dog is 2006. That was the year when the humanity had the impetus called Adi Shakti. This force concentrated in this fire dog. This fire dog is also called solidity of spirit. As soon as we get the impetus, we are solid in our spirit. Why? We are solid to reveal our individual character by combining our reason and our feelings. So we combine our mind and our heart, and therefore individual character is revealed. So Ani Nidana, through the will of the gods who are in Tian Cogenic hierarchy in Leo constellation, through this wheel of gods, it starts to turn direction of the space through dragon, through wisdom. This dragon is one more Shakti force. Then there is a snake, the horse, then there is a goat, the monkey, and we are in red monkey, fire monkey. This force is called Kundalini Shakti. This day, what we came to today, we are in the very middle of the wheel of time. What can we say? You all know that Kundalini Shakti is the sleeping snake. He sleeps and he doesn't move. But in order to move him, we need an impetus of the pure thought, of the pure will, of the altruistic thought. When it came to existence, it is called when the pure thought emerges, then along Sushumna, this Kundalini Shakti force, not the snake, but his force that by the impetus starts to put up the fire from Sushumna and goes up along the spine by harmonizing the two forces, the material force and the spiritual force, Ida and Pingala. We are in this day, but why? It is very important. We are talking about the year of the white bull that is finishing this direction. We are in a unique point of time, and this year that was supposed for any human being to understand how the character or individual character will be revealed. The individual character is revealed according to conscious only. And when we are aware of this process, when we understand that we should have pure thought, first of all, there is Kundalini Shakti that works, And finally, the white bull realizes, puts into being. It means that we go into scholar state, and the scholar becomes the teacher. This combination of the two beings is awareness of hierarchy. And the bull, in the element of either and its finalized nature, gives us such an opportunity. This year we should no way miss it. And this month is the month of white hair. It's symbolized by knowledge and death, but the death of the previous knowledge in order to get new knowledge. That is why the hair is the unique principle in one of these hierarchical description. They are described as sephirotas. There are 7 and 10. The hair is unique, but we all know that this year of white hair, was the year when HPB, who knew everything, was born. And in order to have all this knowledge and to reflect it to the universe, we should first of all awaken our conscious. This uniqueness emerges as this white hair emerges as Sephirotas, and at the same time creates the force of Lipicus, who write down the karma of emerging spiritual humanity. And in this case, the white hair gives the impetus to bring the Nagtiani Boon hierarchy forward, and this Tiani Boot hierarchy is the 6th hierarchy, because we were under the 7th hierarchy guidance. Now we came to the 6th hierarchy, Tiani Boot, to the spiritual hierarchy. That means that there is a law and there is the feminine being developed, or developing the new era of the World Mother. This World Mother era means that our conscious is constantly getting close to the feeling of knowledge. Let us start by the thought of the day as we were supposed to. The thought of the day is the following. The higher self knows the greatest abode of Brahman, which contains everything and is illuminated with radiance. Sages do not chase after happiness, they serve this higher self and are not born again. Today we also will try to dwell on Stanza 1, Sloka 5. It says the following. Darkness alone filled the boundless soul, for father, mother, and son were once more one, and the son had not awakened yet for the new will and his pilgrimage thereon. How does Kalachakra work? And what HPB gave to us in the Pearl of the East is the thought for every day, and how these thoughts are combined with nidanas, with reasons of putting cause and consequence together, created by human consciousness. We give birth to these illusions, and through illusionary perception of reality, we create these nidanas. But if we get close to the being of everything, and we know the obstacles and where they lead us according to these nidanas. Therefore, we change our karma, we change our destiny.
Сознание включается, то он способен
and can change his or her karma. So these thoughts,
что мы способны изменить карму. И в этом смысле дракон и является посредником между законом космическим и человеческим.
is a mediator between the divine law and the human being. The wisdom is a mediator between a human being and the law that we should apply, that we should follow, as in nature, as in cosmic understanding.
Теперь, чтобы нам выйти на понимание.
Now, in order to move closer to understanding of this thought of the day and to correspondence between it and nidanas, let us look at the following. The higher self knows the greatest abode of Brahman, which contains everything and is illuminated with radiance. Sages do not chase after happiness, they serve this higher self and are not born again. If the human being has a sincere desire and a pure thought, then this thought is combined with the higher self and sounds together with it. Everything pure, everything altruistic, it sounds together with the higher nature. So if we make our personal self stay as it is, if we calm down our mind, then radiance will find our conscious. And from this radiance, our capacities will reveal. So we will be able to hear the voice of the God, and the voice of the God today is symbolized by the black rooster nidana. It means the week where we are living. It is not what we are saying, it is the logos. The black rooster, its symbol is akasha, or the water element. This sound is not pronounced, so this thought has not been a sound, but this thought has a particular vibration of the higher pureness, and this vibration of the high pureness is actually the higher self in each and every of us. It can be lived through only by the knowledge sense, and the black rooster works this way. HPB tells that, saying that the higher self knows the greatest abode of Brahman. So in this aspect, this vibration of this week tells us about that. Now let us move towards the Xian stanzas. Darkness alone filled the boundless all, for father, mother, and son were once more one. Sloka, telling its text on one hand, but raises questions in us on the other hand. What is darkness alone that filled the boundless all? We are posing this question towards ourselves. The darkness alone in the esoteric teachings is the absolute light. That is, the absolute light was filled with father, mother, and son. Now, There is one more question and hint to these questions. Once more, what does it mean? Means that this state before it was Pralaya, before the dawn of Manvantara. The previous Manvantara dissolved, and the darkness alone filled the boundless soul. It can be said that the darkness alone, as the eternal principle, unlimited and immutable, or Brahma, the absolute abstract consciousness, or eternal life, or the breath of this eternal life, is the essence of the Father-Mother. In this essence there are three, as the first Logos is Father, the second Logos is Mother, and the third Logos is Son. All these three are united for putting the third Logos into reality. But the Son had not yet awakened for the new wheel and for traveling on it. That is, the manifested cosmos is the eternal wanderer in this wheel, and the wheel represents or symbolizes the cycle, and in these cycles the universe finds a consciousness that wanders. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the information provided, for the definitions, for these Nidana energies of today's unique day. And we invite our first speaker of the research center, Mr. Gary Kidgell, Theosophical Society of Scotland. Gary Kidgell is the founder of the Theosophical Lodge of Dundee, Scotland. Mr. Gary Kidgell, you are welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Darkness alone filled the boundless all, where Father, Mother, and Son were once more one, and the Son had not awakened yet for the new wheel and his pilgrimage thereon. When considering the sloka in question, which forms part of stanza 1, which describes the night of the universe, we are informed of the fundamental cosmic mechanisms which underlie the creation and the purpose of each successive Manvantara. The universal mind, or Mahat, is the cosmic principle of intelligence. The cosmic ideation arising from the universal mind activates the energies of the plane of Thohat below, which HPB states is, slide 2 please, the alpha and omega of universal creative force, evolving from pure spirit and ending in gross matter. It is also the key to the cycle of science, divine and human, and he who comprehends its full meaning is forever liberated from the toils of Mahamaya, the great illusion and deceiver. It is the energies of the plane of Thohat which give rise to the Father, Mother, and Son. The latter undertakes a pilgrimage upon the new wheel. Slide 3, please. The Ouroboros is an ancient symbol depicting a dragon serpent devouring its tail. This is held to symbolize infinity, together with the cycle of life, death, and rebirth, leading to immortality. It is also a symbol of primordial unity, related to that existing in or persisting before any beginning, and possessing such force or qualities that it cannot be extinguished, equating with the concept of Parabrahman. In the first of the 3 fundamental propositions in the proem of the Secret Doctrine, we are informed that Parabrahman is, slide 4 please, an omnipresent, eternal, boundless, and immutable principle on which all speculation is impossible, since it transcends the power of human conception and could only be dwarfed by any human expression or similitude. Slide 5, please. The emblem of the Theosophical Society features the Ouroboros encircling interlaced triangles, the seal of Solomon, symbolizing the unification of soul and personality, and the Egyptian Ankh, a symbol of spirit or consciousness and matter, and the triumph of the former achieved through the successful completion of the pilgrimage. The Ouroboros features a swastika representing the energies of Fohat, which arise through the sounding of the sacred word, the Om, which is featured on top. Slide 6, please. The serpent is related to Anantashesha, the cosmic serpent, who when he coils, time exists and creation is manifest. And when he recoils, the universe is in pralaya. Anantashesha floats on the waters of space, forming a bed for the Supreme Lord, Mahavishnu. A lotus protrudes from the navel of the Supreme Lord, from which the creator god Brahma emerges. The lotus is a symbol for the archetypal goddess who provides the means by which deity manifests. The goddess factor, or mother, can be found on all planes of being below that of Fohat, from which father, mother, and son emerge. Slide 7, please. Indian teachings use the term Shakti to denote the active power of deity manifest. This is depicted symbolically in myth as the deity's goddess or consort. In India, the symbolism of the lingam or phallus penetrating the yoni or vagina represents a transcendent being pouring out the energy of life into the field or womb of creation, which is symbolized by the various goddess figures found in world mythology. When we contemplate the symbolism of the god and goddess in embrace, we are pondering over the means by which life is generated, together with its profound mystery. The active and passive powers of the single transcendent principle, Parabrahman, which are essentially as one, appear as a duality. When creation manifests, duality occurs as the absolute is differentiated into antagonistic, but also cooperative pairs of opposites. Though apparently opposites, they are in essence one, as alluded to by the sloka under consideration. The symbolism here is often described as the hieros gamos, or sacred marriage. The hieros gamos represents the interaction between father and mother, which produces the son of necessity, the monad. As monads, we seek to recreate the hieros gamos in microcosm when we awaken for the new wheel, for the pilgrimage thereon. Slide 8, please. The medieval alchemists symbolized the microcosmic hieros gamos by the koneontio, or unia mystica, which relate to the attainment of the elusive philosopher's stone, a symbol for the awakened self. Carl Jung described this as the attainment of individuation, where all opposites within the human psyche, including spirit and matter, male and female, light and dark, are unified. And in Theosophy, we describe this through the higher initiations. Slide 9, please. The pilgrimage relates to the many lives which the soul undertakes upon the wheel of rebirth, seeking to unfold its symbolic lotus petals whilst overcoming the lower nature of its instrument, the human personality. The latter is symbolized on the Buddhist Blavatsky, a symbolic representation of samsara, or cyclic existence, by the pig, the bird, and the snake, which symbolize ignorance, attachment, and aversion respectively. Slide 10, please. The immersing of our spiritual essence, the monad, in the circumstances of the material world is referred to by the Hindus as the pravriti marga, meaning path of desire. The factor of desire enables the monad, via its instrument, the soul or higher self, to experience everything that life in form has to offer, as it undergoes many incarnations in the various races and cultures of our world. Desire urges us to activate latent psychic energies, to develop faculties, and to expand our consciousness. However, this comes at a cost, with desire creating attachments to objects, to circumstances, and to people. These serve as metaphorical chains which bind us to the material world, whilst creating myriad karmic entanglements within the realm of Meyer. Plato illustrated this in his work, The Republic, by his famous analogy, which depict humanity as prisoners within a cave, transfixed by the observation of phantom apparitions upon a wall. Eventually, the soul reaches a saturation point in terms of acquiring experience in the realm of matter. The personality then experiences divine unrest, as the transient affairs of the physical world no longer satisfy nor sustain one. The Nivriti Marga, the path of renunciation, then beckons. One begins the journey back to the source of one's being. This is a most challenging process, as HPB states, slide 11, please. There is a road, steep and thorny, beset with perils of every kind, yet a road, and it leads to the very heart of the universe. The entire pilgrimage occurs within the bosom of the mother, whose energies and qualities relate to the manifestation of deity. These have been described throughout the ages by goddess symbolism, developed by various civilizations and cultures throughout world history. The goddess factor can be found in all levels of existence beneath the first cause. It is therefore within the realm of the goddess that we, as monads, undertake our long evolutionary journey in pursuit of acquiring spiritual staying power. Joseph Campbell, the great 20th century student of myth, informs us that the goddess religions of India describe the archetypal qualities of the mother by stating, slide 12 please, she is time and space itself, and the mystery beyond her is beyond all pairs of opposites. Everything is within her, so that the gods are her children. Slide 13, please. He proceeds, the Indian name for that being of all beings is Brahman, which is a neuter noun, neither male nor female. And the Indian name for the woman is Maya Shakti Devi, goddess, giver of life and mother of forms. It's the female as the giver of forms. She is the one who gave life to the forms, and she knows where they came from. It is from that which is beyond male and female. It is that which is beyond being and non-being. It is both and is not. It neither is nor is not. It is beyond all categories of thought and the mind. Slide 14, please. In tarot symbolism, the realm of transcendence, beyond the boundaries of manifestation, is located behind the veil of the High Priestess card. The High Priestess represents the pure essence of consciousness. She is the source of the vibratory patterns of the universe, which underlie all manifestation. Her virgin milk provides life and sustenance to all levels of creation. The High Priestess Tarot card is situated on the Hermetic Kabbalah, or Tree of Life, between the Sephirot, Kether, and Tiferet. These relate to aspects of the monad and the higher self, respectively. The Hebrew letter assigned to the path of the High Priestess is Gimel, meaning camel. The camel symbolizes a means of transport which can enable one to cross the desert of the abyss. It serves the same symbolic function of what Indian teachings describe as a ferry boat, which can take one from the shore of everyday life to the shore of transcendence. The Nivriti Marga, or pilgrimage, is symbolized in India by the river crossing from the shore of everyday life to the shore of transcendence. It is also represented by the hero myths of our world. Slide 15, please. On the British Isles, this is symbolized by the Grail Quest. After attaining a partial vision of the Grail, the questing knights enter the forest of adventure in pursuit of the sacred vessel, a symbol of the soul or higher self, which, at the third initiation, becomes a divine receptacle for the energies of the monad. The attainment of the Grail heals a fisher king or maimed king, allowing him to enter into sovereign union with his kingdom, which has formerly been a wasteland. The maimed king is a symbol for the challenges and constraints which physical incarnation places upon the monad as the son of necessity undertakes a pilgrimage in pursuit of spiritual staying power. the ability to develop and express the latent qualities of the monad amidst the constraints of physical incarnation. This enables the sun to fulfill its role in the vast evolutionary universal plan. Thank you.
Mr. Kidgell, thank you so much for this material presented to us. It was very diverse and contained a lot of right information presented by you. The description of symbolism of different philosophical areas and religions and mythology once again confirms just how in the SD of Helena Petrovna Blavatsky concentrates concisely, clearly, and briefly the main concepts and aspects of the hidden symbolism. Well, we believe that the main thing that the student of the secret doctrine needs to achieve is the revelation of the symbolism for themselves, so that the symbolism is not just another piece of information. For once the symbols are revealed, then the knowledge provided to us in the secret doctrine also become open, and we achieve a clearer understanding, and then there is the simplicity. We thank you for the research material provided to us, for your comparative analysis and such a beautiful piece of material. And we invite the next speaker of our seminar, Madam Petra Meyer, Theosophical Society of Great Britain, President of the Blavatsky Lodge, Great Britain, London.
Yeah, so it is about the secret doctrine, stanza 1, sloka 5, as we know. So the first lesson taught in esoteric philosophy is that the incognizable cause does not put forth evolution, whether consciously or unconsciously, but only exhibits periodically different aspects of itself to the perception of finite minds.
Для восприятия конечных умов.
Stanza 1, sloka 5 introduces us to the obscure period when the eternal cycles of manifestation and dissolution in cosmic space are still at rest. This condition is called darkness because it is impenetrable and cannot be speculated upon. In the transactions of the Blavatsky Lodge, Madame Blavatsky theorizes about this phenomenon as well, and saying that ever darkness means, I suppose, the ever unknowable mystery behind the veil, in fact, parabrahm, and that the darkness pointed out in stanza 1, sloka 5 is the boundless all, the parent space or source of every manifestation. It is without any attributes, being the unknown principle filling cosmic space. Next one. Since everything emanates from cosmic space, Father, Mother is seen in Eastern philosophy as the parent space, giving rise to the creative sun in form of light, the first radiation from this unknown darkness. Next one. Not even esoteric philosophy can claim to know, except by analogical inference or the law of periodicity, that which took place before the reappearance of our solar system. And previous to the last Mahapralaya, says the secret doctrine, and that no adept has ever penetrated beyond this point or the veil of primitive cosmic matter. The highest, the most perfect vision is limited to the universe of form and matter and our solar system. And the secret doctrine adds, the highest Dian Shuan can but bow in ignorance before the awful mystery of absolute being. And even in that culmination of conscious existence, which is the merging of the individual in the universal consciousness, the finite can still not conceive the infinite. Next, please. Although Parabrahman, beyond Brahma, the alleged creator, and Mula Prakriti, the root of nature, are one in reality, yet two in the universal conception of the manifested, even in the conception of the one Logos, its first manifestation. It, which is neither spirit nor matter but both, appears from the objective standpoint of the one Logos as Mula Prakriti and not as Parabrahm, as its way and not the only reality hidden behind, which is unconditioned and absolute. Next, please. The TH glossary describes the Logos as the outward expression or effect of the ever-concealed cause. This Logos, which leaps in the Buddham of Parabrahman during Pralaya, the same as when our ego is latent in us at the time of Shushupti or sleep, the Logos cannot cognize Parabrahman otherwise than as Mula Prakriti, which, being a cosmic grail of the mighty expanse of matter, is thus only an organ in cosmic creation, through which radiates the energy and wisdom of Parabrahman, unknown to the Logos as it is to ourselves. Says. Moreover, as the Logos is unknown to us, as Parabrahm is unknown in reality to the Logos, both Eastern esotericism and the Kabbalah have resolved the abstract synthesis into concrete images, that is, into the reflections or multiplied aspects of that Logos, like Avalokiteshvara, Brahma, Ormuzd, Osiris, Adam Kadmon, call it by any of these names, says HPB, which aspects or manvantaric emanations are the Dhyan Shorans, the Elohim, the Devas, the Amshaspens, etc. Metaphysician explains the root and germ of the latter according to Mr. Subarow as the first manifestation of Parabrahman, the highest Trinity that we are capable of understanding. Next, please. Darkness, therefore, symbolizes the eternal matrix in which the source of light, or the creative sun, appears and disappears. There's nothing added to darkness to make of it light, or vice versa. They are interchangeable. Both are phenomenon from the beyond. When the whole universe was plunged in sleep or had returned to its primordial element, there was no center of luminosity, no eye to perceive light, and darkness fills the boundless all, says the Secret Doctrine. Next. Father, mother symbolize the male and female principle at the root of manifested nature, or spirit and substance in cosmos, the result of which is the universe or the sun. Next. In Madame Blavatsky's collected writings, volume 12, there is a note by the editor that cosmos, spelled with a K, was used by Madame Blavatsky in the sense of the manvantaric manifestation as a whole. She often applies the adjective cosmic with a small c to phenomena of the solar system and speaks of that system as cosmos and the universe. Unfortunately, this distinction was constantly missed by proofreaders, and we meet the term cosmos applied to the solar system where she would have written cosmos with a C. Next, please. During Pralaya, or the rest period, when the objective universe had returned to its primal and eternal cause to reappear again periodically, Karana, or the eternal cause, was alone, held in solution in space to differentiate and crystallize again at the following Manvantara, or new active period of Brahma, who is father, mother, son, or spirit, soul, and body at once. Each personage is symbolic of an attribute and the quality of a graduated influx of the divine breath in its cyclic differentiation, says HPB. Evolutionary and involutionary. In the cosmical physical sense, it is the universe, the plane, the planetary chain, as well as the earth. In the purely spiritual sense, it is the unknown deity, planetary spirit and man, the son of the two, a creature of spirit and matter, a manifestation of them in periodical appearance on earth during the wheels or manvantaras. Next, please. Wheels are the centers of force around which primordial cosmic matter expands, and passing through all the 6 stages of consolidation becomes spheroidal and ends by being transformed into globes and spheres. The great wheel is the whole duration of our cycle of being, or Mahakalpa. That is the whole evolution of our special chain, or 7 planets or spheres from beginning to end. The small wheels, meaning the rounds, of which there are also 7. And summarizing now from the transaction of Blavatsky Lodge, is darkness the same as the eternal parent space spoken of in stanza 1? And the answer is not at all. Here the boundless all is the parent space, and cosmic space is something already with attributes, at least potentially. Darkness, on the other hand, in this instance, is that of which no attributes can be postulated. It is the unknown principle of filling cosmic space. Is darkness then used in the sense of the opposite pole to light? Yes, says HPB, in the sense of the unmanifested and the unknown as the opposite pole to manifestation, and that which falls under the possibility and speculation. Next, please. Darkness is not opposed to light then, but to differentiation, or rather may it not be taken as a symbol of negativeness. The darkness here meant can be opposed to neither light nor differentiation, as both are the legitimate effects of the manvantaric evolution, the cycle of activity. It is a darkness upon the face of the deep in Genesis, deep being here the bright sun of the dark father or space. Is it that there is no light or simply nothing to manifest and no one to perceive it? Both. In the sense of objectivity, both light and darkness are illusions, Maya. In this case, it is not darkness as absence of light, but as one incomprehensible primordial principle, which, being absoluteness itself, has for our intellectual perceptions neither form, color, substantiality, nor anything that could be expressed in words. Next, please. When does light proceed from darkness? Subsequently, when the first hour for manifestation strikes. Light then is the first manifestation. It is after differentiation has begun, and at the 3rd stage of evolution only. Bear in mind that in philosophy we use the word light in a dual sense. One to signify eternal absolute light in potentia, ever present in the bosom of the unknown darkness, coexistent and coeval with the latter in eternity, or in other words, identical with it. And the other as a manifestation of heterogeneity and a contrast to it. For one who reads the Vishnu Purana, for instance, understandingly, will find the difference between the two terms well expressed in Vishnu, one with Brahma and yet distinct from him. There, Vishnu is the external X, and at the same time, every term of the equation. He is Brahma, neuter, essentially matter and spirit, which are Brahma's two primordial aspects. Spirit being the abstract light. In the Vedas, however, we find Vishnu held in small esteem and no mention made whatever of Brahma, the male. What is the meaning of the sentence, Father, Mother, and Son were once more one? It means that the three logoi, the unmanifested Father, the semi-manifested Mother, and the universe, which is the third logos of our philosophy, or Brahma, were during the periodical pralaya once more one. Differentiated essence had become undifferentiated. The sentence Father, Mother, and Son is this antitype of the Christian type Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, the last of which was, in early Christianity and Gnosticism, the female Sophia. It means that all creative, sensitive forces and the effects of such forces, which constitute the universe, had returned to their primordial state. All was merged into one. During the Mahapralayas, naught but the absolute is. In using the terms Father, Mother, and Son, we should be on our guard against anthropomorphizing the conception. The two former are simply centrifugal and centripetal forces, and their product is the sun. Moreover, it is impossible to exclude either of these factors from the conception of the esoteric philosophy. If these forces exist, they must be producing effects. And if the effects cease, the forces cease with them. For who can know them? And to close now with a quote from the Buddha. He who experiences the unity of life sees his own self in all beings and all beings in his own self. Thank you.
Дорогая Петра, огромное
Dear Petra, thank you so much for the research presented by you. You have presented the answer of Madame Blavatsky to the questions of students of the inner group, and of course, this is one of the bases for the understanding for those who study the secret doctrine. So it is kind of a guideline for the understanding. And you managed to gather such precise descriptions of the most important aspects of the fifth sloka. And of course, the forces mentioned by you and their manifestations are continued in a person, because the person actually is this great connection between microcosm, macrocosm, and the person can be aware of these forces and understand any world through understanding themselves. Thank you so much. And we have the next speaker who will share his discoveries on the fifth shloka of the third stanza, Mr. Kishore Angali, the Theosophical Society of India, Guntur. The floor is yours.
Namaste to all. Thank you so much. Darkness alone filled the boundless all. For Father, Mother, and Son were once more one, and the Son had not awakened yet for the new will and his pilgrimage thereon. Let us first see the meanings of all the important words of this sloka in the context of the secret doctrine. Our creation, boundless all, entire universe, or can we say visible universe, or can we say only our solar system? Boundless all is, let us just discuss about the solar system, our own solar system. Father, Mother, and Son, the first Trinity. Wheel, the wheel of time. Now let us see the pilgrimage, the journey of the Son from darkness to darkness. His journey covers from the creation of this universe to the end of the universe, when the whole creation goes back to the place from where it originated. The pilgrimage includes the entire life of Brahma, 311 trillion years, 40 billion years. The darkness, the commentary says, darkness then is the eternal matrix in which the sources of light appear and disappear. When the whole universe was plunged in sleep, had returned to its one primordial element, there was neither center of luminosity nor eye to perceive light, and darkness necessarily filled the boundless all. Let to interpret this in our daily life very simply. This is a small suggestion, like we are experiencing darkness and light daily in our lives. When you go to deep sleep, nothing remains, darkness remains. And when you wake up, our life starts, the sun starts its pilgrimage from morning to evening, darkness to light, unto darkness. The man experiences daily the darkness of sleep. He wakes up to the light and he plunges into the darkness or sleep in the nights. We will see some important triple aspects which affect our spiritual life or sadhana to understand Father, Mother, and Son, which is the first Trinity. The Trinity, life, mind, and matter, generator, operator, destroyer. Destroyer is the word, I don't think so is a correct one. It can be said as transformer because matter is neither destroyed nor created. Daylight, twilight, and night. Sushupti is one sleep state, where the Swapna is dream state. Jagrata is wakeful state. Likewise, another thing, Rajoguna, too much activity. Satvaguna, balanced activity. Tamoguna, nil activity. You can also see Bhur, Bhuva, Swaha, the three lokas, the physical, the astral, and the causal plane. And also one more thing, Agami, Prarabdha, and Sanchita, the future, the past, and present. The unknown deity, the holy sun, the planetary spirit. Manasa, Vacha, Karmana, thought, the word, the deed are the action you do. If these three are in sync, we can understand. What I would like to suggest these triple aspects is, if these three are in sync, if we balance, understand these three aspects, we can understand the secret doctrine and the essence of life. Physical body, astral body, causal body. Observer, observed, and act of observing. Philosophy, religion, and science. Kriya Shakti, the power of putting every noble thought into action. Jnana Shakti, the power of knowledge. Ichha Shakti, the power of intense desire, or Sankalpa, what we call Sankalpa, the intense desire, the Vajra Sankalpa. If you have the exact desire, the desire will become crystallized and ideal and idol. Likewise, we can understand it. The great wheel is the entire span of time of pilgrimage of the sun. Talking about time, let us see what Krishna says about time or wheel. Chapter number 11, Sloka number 32. Kalosmi lokakshetra pravuddho lokan samahattu viha pravruttaha rutepi tvam nabhavishyanti sarve yena sthita pracharikeshu yogaha. Here symbolically, I just quoted this sloka to understand the creation of the universe. The Supreme Lord said, I am the mighty time, the source of destruction that comes forth to annihilate the worlds, even without your participation. The warriors arrayed in the opposing army shall cease to exist. That is the exact meaning we can infer from that. Though Krishna announced that he is the great destroyer of the worlds, yet Vedic text tells us that the time deals with not just destruction, but creation and sustenance as well. Krishna is a symbolic representation which I used. Anybody can be there. You can say Master KH, you can say Master M, whoever it is. the reason of the existence of this world. Here, the great wheel of time, in the page number 70, the Secret Doctrine 2, to make this still clear in its details about the great wheel of time, the following computations by Rao Bahadur P. Srinivas Rao are given in the Theosophist magazine of November 1885. 360 days of mortal makes a year. Krita Yuga, 1,728,000 years. Treta Yuga, 1,296,000 years. Dwapara Yuga, 864,000 years. Kali Yuga, 432,000 years. Likewise, the Mahayuga, 4,320,000 years. 71 of such Mahayugas form the period of reign of one Manu, 306,720,000 years. The reign of 14 Manus embraces the duration of 994 Mahayugas, which is equal to 4,294,000 years, 18,000. Sandhi is the interval between the yugas. This comes 25,920,000 years. And 1,000 Mahayugas is 1 day of Brahma. That comes to 4,320,000,000 years. As Brahma's night is of equal duration, 1 day and night of Brahma would contain 8,640,000,000 years. 360 of such days and nights makes 1 year of Brahma make 311,040,000,000,000 years. Now, as we discussed the days and nights of Brahma, I would like to quote another sloka from Gita. If we think about a personal God who descended on the earth as an embodiment of Father, Mother, or the Holy, for the Holy Son, or humanity, you can understand he is Krishna. His descent is to help the Son for his pilgrimage during the entire wheel of time, as we teach occult knowledge. From chapter number 4, sloka number 1, Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavana Avyayam Vivaswan Manave Praha Manu Rishvaka Bravit. We all know that we are in Vivasvata Manu right now. Here the meaning of the sloka says, the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna said, I taught this eternal science of yoga to the sun god Vivaswan, who passed it to Manu. The Manu in turn instructed to Ikshvaku, is the king of solar dynasty. Solar dynasty means we all belong to solar dynasty because we all take the energy from sun. Each and every person who takes the energy from sun is solar dynasty. We can infer from that. And from Ikshvaku, it is being given to all humankind. In the Secret Doctrine, page number 69, Vaivashvata Manu is the second part. One human being, some versions add to him as 7 rishis, who in the Matsyavatara allegory is saved from the deluge in a boat like Noah in the ark. Therefore, this Vaivashvata Manvantara would be the post-Diluvian period. This, however, does not refer to the later Atlantean or Noah's deluge, nor to the cosmic deluge. Brahma's contingent recollections of the universe at the end of Brahma's day. The question was raised by a learned Brahmin Theosophist, whether there is such a thing as cosmic pralaya, because otherwise the Logos would have to be reborn, and he is Aja. Aja means unborn. We cannot see why. The Logos is said to be born only metaphorically, as the sun is born daily, or rather a beam of that sun is born in the morning and is said to die when it disappears, whereas it is simply reabsorbed into the parent essence. Cosmic pralaya is for things visible, not the arupa, formless world. The cosmic or universal pralaya comes only at the end of 100 years of Brahma, when the universal dissolution is said to take place. When the Avyaya say the exoteric scriptures, the eternal symbolized by Vishnu or Poat, assuming the character of Rudra, the destroyer or the transformer, enters into the 7 rays of the sun and drinks up all the waters of the universe, thus fed. The 7 solar rays dilate to 7 suns and set fire to the whole cosmos. As we have discussed about darkness and light, I would like to conclude my talk by quoting Vedic verses which are called Pavamana Mantra, and these three are said to be mantras of first, second, and third initiations. Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritangamaya. From the unreal, lead me to the real. From the darkness, lead me to the light. From death, lead me to the immortality. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Dear Mr. Kishore, thank you so much. In your presentation, you paid great attention to the description of darkness and cycles in different Eastern philosophies and in different religious areas. And you found some correspondences between the description of the triple power and some quotations from Krishna, from the Vedic philosophy, and quotations from Bhagavad Gita. And of course, this all is very important. But we feel that the more precise ideas about the symbols, because, well, everything discussed here about the fire, the triple power, and the light, this is all about symbolism. And Madame Blavatsky in her Secret Doctrine provides us with more precise descriptions because she gave this knowledge according to the new cycle. And the new cycle is about the synthesis between science, religion, and philosophy. So, unless we understand and delve into the synthesis of producing scientific material, the Secret Doctrine, then everything which happened in the past, the works of many centuries, not passed through the lens of knowledge and understanding of the Secret Doctrine, could become the new movement. So this is very important. Thank you very much for such a comprehensive and comparative analysis. And we invite our next lecturer, Director of the Virtual Center for Theosophical Research, Luke Michael Ironside, who presents the Theosophical Society of the Philippines, Morocco. Please, dear Luke Michael Ironside, the floor is yours.
Thank you, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all participants, depending on where in the world you may be joining us from. Today, as we continue our studies into the stanzas of Xian, we are faced with the seemingly insurmountable mystery of darkness. And it's worth remembering before we consider this sloka from this fifth sloka of the first stanza, that the stanzas of Xian are intentionally represented in a poetic form, and also that they are a translation of a translation. They are an attempt in some small way to capture the cosmic reality which necessarily transcends all limitations of language and form. And therefore, they appeal to our poetic sense rather than our rational interpretation. This sloka, when translated, reads, "Darkness alone filled the boundless all, for father, mother, and son were once more one, and the sun had not awakened yet for the new wheel and his pilgrimage thereon." Now, the word darkness is one that is commonly associated with negative connotations. However, in the theosophical sense, darkness is a complex philosophical concept that extends far beyond the ordinary sense and interpretation of the words. It is far more than the mere absence of light. In fact, darkness is the eternal matrix in which all manifestations of light come into being for a time, before their periodical reabsorption in the eternity of darkness. And so again, what we find in this sloka is the recurring theme of the periodicity of existence, the coming into and the going out of existence, symbolized here as the wheel. In defining the use of the term darkness as it appears in the Secret Doctrine, HPB notes, darkness is taken as the appropriate allegorical representation of the condition of the universe during pralaya, or the term of absolute rest or non-being, as it appears to our finite minds. So again, there's a certain level of relativity here. Darkness to us appears as the state of absolute non-being or the state of absolute non-existence. But that's only from our relative perspective. In the more absolute sense, we could perhaps perceive darkness as being absolute reality, inclusive of our conceptions of light when we reach the dual perception of the two terms. Darkness as pralaya is then representative of that state of non-manifestation in which the entirety of the cosmos returns to a state of latency in the mind of the Logos. It's important to clarify that the state is not a cessation of being, as such would be an impossibility. As HPB states, everything that is, was, and will be eternally is, even in the countless forms which are finite and perishable only in their objective, not in their ideal form. It is then rather a shift from objective manifestation to ideal potentiality, a return from diversity to primordial unity in the bosom of pralaya. So it's really important to emphasize here that darkness and a state of pralaya is not the end of life or the end of being in any kind of absolute sense. It's merely a shift of states in which all life returns to its singular source in the state of potential being. Darkness could then be conceived as a total singularity in which all diverse states and conditions are resolved into the oneness of the primordial element. There being in this unified state no duality of form, light cannot exist, as no distinction can be made in which light may be perceived. And so because there is no distinction between forms and distinction between this and that, there can be no light as opposed to darkness. HPB further comments that esoterically, it is darkness itself, the unknowable absolute, which is the source, firstly of the radiation called the first logos, then of its reflection, the dawn of the second logos, and finally of Brahma, the manifested light, or the third logos. This being distinguished from Parabrahman, the absolute, this being Brahma, the third logos, or the creator god of the Hindu pantheon. Thus, darkness is the symbolic representative of unmanifestation, or pralaya, or light is symbolic of manifestation, or manvantara. So we find these two terms repeating and being used quite commonly in the Secret Doctrine. And it's worth becoming familiar with the meaning of pralaya as the state of unmanifestation and manvantara as the state of manifestation. The journey from one state to the other is cyclic and eternal, in accordance with the principle of periodicity that is fundamental to both the unmanifest and manifest states. Darkness is father-mother, light their son, hence the trinity of manifestation. The father-mother being representative of the masculine and feminine principles of nature found in every cosmogony of every religious tradition of the world, signify the dual principles through which the manifestation of all existence periodically occurs. And so this is a recurring idea or principle that when we examine the creation myths of all the different religious traditions, of the ancient mythologies and the major religions of the world, we find this same idea of a primordial trinity through which manifestation takes place. As the principles of primordial differentiation by which the one becomes the two The Father-Mother are the dual poles of spirit and substance. So here we have the first duality emerging from the singularity of the One. While these principles differentiate, they yet remain united in essence, being the two aspects of the Absolute. The Sun is symbolic of the universe itself, coming into birth through the union of the Father-Mother at each resultant Manvantara. Darkness was alone during the night of Brahma, there being nothing with which it may coexist. HPB described Pralaya as being a period of obscuration or repose, planetary, cosmic, or universal, the opposite of Manvantara. So we can see from this quote that this applies on various scales. It applies on the planetary scale, further on the cosmic scale, and further on the universal scale. It's a universal principle which is part of the nature of existence itself. In this condition of dissolution, all manifestation is returned to its primordial and thus singular condition in the darkness of non-existence. The same cosmogonical idea is found expressed in the book of Genesis as the darkness upon the face of the deep. The wheel referred to in the stanza may be interpreted as symbolic of a world or globe. As HPB notes in The Secret Doctrine, this indicates that the ancient custodians who composed the stanzas of Xian were aware of the nature of the earth as a revolving globe, in contrast to the then prevalent views among the adherents of the church. So the esoteric philosophy already had this conception, which later science would come to discover. The wheel is the circle of creation, whereby the periodical rotation from the Manvantaric day to the Pralaic night takes place. This can occur on the grand scale of the Mahakalpa or Great Wheel, this being the total revolution of our chain of spheres through the evolutionary journey, and likewise on the minor scale of the small wheels or rounds. Thus applies the Hermetic axiom, as above, so below. The principles presented in the stanzas of Xian, being universal, must be equally applicable on the microcosmic and the macrocosmic levels. The pilgrimage of the sun, or the universe during a period of manifestation, is likewise mirrored in the journey of mankind through the various levels of evolutionary and spiritual growth. This is the obligatory pilgrimage for every soul, a spark of the former, through the cycle of incarnation or necessity in accordance with the cyclic and karmic law, referred to in the Secret Doctrine. The universe, like us, is growing, developing, and evolving on the various levels of its being. Therefore, by an understanding of the cosmos we inhabit, we may arrive at a deeper understanding of ourselves, fulfilling the Delphic oracle, know thyself, and thou shalt know the universe and gods. To review some of the key concepts we've explored in this sloka then, far from being the state of nothingness, in the commonly understood sense, darkness is in fact the natural condition of reality. In the words of HPB, darkness then is the eternal matrix in which the sources of light appear and disappear. It is darkness and not light, which is the absolute reality that underlies the various manifestations of light. All such occurrences of light, or Manvantara, are necessarily characterized by motion and change, these being the conditions of light. Darkness, in contrast, is eternal and unchanging. HPB comments further by stating that ever darkness means, I suppose, the ever unknowable mystery behind the veil. In fact, Parabrahm. Even the Logos can see only Mula Prakriti. It cannot see that which is beyond the veil. It is that which is the ever unknowable darkness. Darkness is therefore personified by the Father-Mother, giving birth to the sun, which is the light or universe. The wheel is the cycle of Manvantara, to which the universe awakens at the end of its prolaic sleep. To finish with a quote from HPB, thus the darkness is regarded as eternal, while the appearance of light or manifestation is a non-eternal phenomena occurring periodically. So with those few thoughts on the fifth sloka of the first stanza of the Secret Doctrine, I conclude my presentation. Thank you all.
Dear Luke, thank you so much for such a classic and well-structured approach to presenting the fifth sloka. The material you have chosen gives us another idea about the structural understanding of the concepts of darkness, will, light, and their interaction periods and cycles. And this, of course, is all very important. So thank you so much for such a dynamic presentation and your understanding, your beautiful presentation as well, shown to us during your lecture. Thank you so much. Dear colleagues, today we have the opportunity to reflect together upon the material of the first shloka, the first stanza of Dhyan. And as always, different speakers present different dimensions of the same material. And this combination, of course, produces a broader understanding, broader vision for each and every one of us, opening yet another understanding of the stanzas of Dhyan. It is very important when discussing the secret doctrine to stay within the secret doctrine and within the shloka under consideration. This creates a stronger tension. Hence, with this tension, we have a new impulse, which leads us to new thoughts. The thoughts which probably haven't been noticed before. And if there are the new thoughts, there is also a new understanding. So according to new energies of this day, you see, every moment, every minute, there is a renewal of specific energies. And the most important thing is to be free from our own old concepts, from our previous understanding, so that a new one can arise. Okay, I would like to add a few thoughts which I had when studying the fifth sloka. We tried to illustrate it. We tried to show you the most important aspects of Helena Petrovna Blavatsky's voiced to the comments. So, darkness alone filled the boundless soul, for Father, Mother, and Son were once more one, had not awakened yet for the new will and his pilgrimage thereon. It is very important to discuss some moments combined in order to focus on the structure of the secret doctrine, and the structure is very simple. In the first sloka, there was one. Then there is the description in the second, third, and fourth slokas of what will be manifested. So
There are 7 eternities, O Father, then duration, O Mother. In the second, something that was not, time was not. And then there were no 7 reasons of suffering. Darkness alone filled the boundless soul, for Father, Mother, and Son were once more one, and the Son had not awakened yet for the new will, his pilgrimage thereon. Of course, right now we can see how it all sounds together. Darkness is Father, Mother, light is Son. So darkness is the source of light that disappears and appears, and sun disappears and appears. Nothing is added to darkness to make it light, and vice versa. During microprolaya there is nothing except from absolute. Light and heat, these are phenomena of one. So a light, a focus, and a heat and movement is movement of this light. Father and mother, masculine and feminine, being spirit and substance, resulting in universe or the sun. Karana. That is the eternal reason it was one. And only Karana is the only thing that is here during the nights of Brahma. Karana in Brahma means its potential revelation when Manvantara begins. So it means that a Karana will be its existence when Manvantara begins. The father and son, as well as mother, are once more merged when, on the night of Brahma, in the time of Pralaya, everything in the objective universe returns to its one, primary and eternal cause, manifest again at dawn. Notion of Brahma is when there are father, mother, and son,
in cosmophysical sense, and in the spiritual, this is unknowable logos. So it's got dissolved in each other, and to get again differentiated in the next dawn of Manvantara, which will be the beginning of the new day, symbol of universe. Let's see the coordination of these notions. So in this table we can see the differentiation of the movement of this first unknowable deity, which corresponds to the following differentiation of the universe, then the state of the father, mother, and then spirit, soul, body. Father, mother, son, those three unmanifested logoi, and their manifestation in his periodic manifestation on earth during the wheels of Manvantaras. That is, everything that has a manifestation in the future is a manifestation of Brahma. Father, mother, and son, the three unmanifested logoi. Three logoi, those are unmanifested father, the semi-manifested mother, and the third, the universe, the sun. Once again united during the periodic pralaya, they merged into a single unmanifested entity and dissolved in each other. So this way they became once more the light, or the one cause of light, the light that will be manifested by the movement of Fohat. Fohat is synthesis of the seven creative rays, Chaim Kogan, emanating from the third logos. Fohat is at the top, the totality of all creative forces, and below there are electrodynamic and creative forces. That is, the strength and power of all Fohatic energies permeate all planes of existence, from the highest to the lowest. What permeates it? The power of separation, of homogeneity, and the power of union of opposites. The positive and negative aspects of Fohat energy are equal in power, and one of them can act more effectively than the other when it is subordinate to the higher form of the energy of the divine will. The highest form of the divine will is the logos, or their action. Therefore, HPB calls Fohat the Daivi Prakriti of all three logoi. The first logos on top already contains the present but not yet manifested potentiality hidden in the depths of the Father-Mother. What is this potentiality? This is the sun, the universe, or the light, who by his movement begins to build the universe. Second logos is the abstract totality of the demiurge fathers, the builders of the universe. They have the ability to build the world according to an ideal prototype and to bring in order the matter, which itself moves chaotically. The third logos, this is the final differentiation of the second logos, the individualization of the cosmic forces, the main of which is forehead, the creative and destructive force, the essence of cosmic electricity. According to the planes of existence, we can see here the first logos, second logos, and the third logos, where it is reflected on the planes of existence. Next, HPB describes the wheel. The wheel is a symbol of the expression of the world or sphere. The great wheel is the completed period of our cycle of being, or Mahakalpa. That is the complete revolution of our special chain of 7 globes and spheres from the beginning to the end. The wheel is a symbol of time. Evolution, the unfolding growth and development of life, and the involution, the collapse of life forms. Day is the highest point on the wheel of time. Night is the lowest point on the arc of the time cycle. Dawn is the first quarter of the cycle. Twilight, the last quarter of the cycle. So it turns out that the wheel is the completion, the connection of the areas of consciousness. That is, consciousness manifests itself when the arcs are connected. Then the sun begins his journey of movement, which became this very consciousness. That is the wheel. He, the sun himself, is this wheel when he begins to move. The wheel of the spirit, this is the ring of the heart. The ring of centers, this is the ring of actions. The ring of aspirations is the ring of love. The ring of creativity is the ring of the cosmic magnet. That is, all for unmanifested becomes manifested, and they denote the movements through all planes of existence. Unmanifested becomes manifested, and the arcs are connected into a ring or wheel. The unmanifested is the opposite pole of the manifested, that is, which we can talk about and reason about. The darkness above the abyss, where the abyss is, this is unmanifested. It is shining sun of the hidden Father, the space. So this is the plane of prototypes. Darkness is the incomprehensible primary principle, which being absolute itself. It has no form, no light, no substance, nothing that can be expressed in words for our intellectual perception. Light has double meaning. It's eternal, absolute, identical to eternity, and at this period, that is simultaneously it is one. And the light as a manifestation of the heterogeneous opposite of darkness, that means it's multiple. Vishnu is one with Brahma, and at the same time he is different from him. Vishnu is the eternal X sign, and in terms of time, as are the other numbers of the equation. X is the power of Vishnu, or the power of light, and the power of his movement, and all his manifestations are multiples of 7, because he himself is 7. He is the sexless Brahma, that is in essence matter and spirit, which are the two primary aspects of Brahma. Vishnu is the creator, guardian and destroyer of the world. He liberates those who worship him, those whose essence is both one and multiple, like light. It's very interesting. This essence, this is both one and multiple, like light, so the wish liberates those who worship the light. Let's see further. Vishnu liberates those who worship, those whose essence is both one and multiple. Vishnu is the cause of the creation, existence, and disappearance of this world. Its essence is one eternal, pure and free from defects. He is the root of the world, and he contains the whole world. So that means that his essence is light. He, Brahma, was and remains everything. He is homogeneous and diverse in his nature. So, the essence of Vishnu is light. Differentiated entity became again undifferentiated. Matter has begun to differentiate, but hasn't yet taken shape. Having emerged from the zero state or layer, it becomes active and passive, not only passive. And as a result of this differentiation, which gives rise to evolution and the subsequent universe, there is a sun, the universe itself, or the manifested cosmos appear, which will exist until the next Mahapralaya. If there is already a father-mother state, then, as HPB writes, then there is no longer a layer state. What is mother and father? Mother and father are those two forces, the centrifugal and centripetal, that create the sun. And this is sevenfold. As a person is 7 principles. But it doesn't mean that he has 7 shells or 7 souls. So Laya, centrifugal, centripetal force, creative force, which is 7-fold ray, which in future will manifest as 7 principles. So the cosmos is not on the side somewhere, but passes through the center, which is the man itself, and all the lights, energies, colors, information, manifestation of time, all pass through the center of the person, and the man himself passes through the center, and this center is the center of the cosmos, the center of all worlds. So he is the center of the universe. Thus the light should give an impulse to the movement of the monad on the wheel, and the consciousness of man will gradually expand and become cosmic at the end. That is, the center of the cosmos and the center of man will become one, and man will be liberated through manas, which leads him to liberation from dense matter, destroying those qualities that bound man to the physical incarnation, these qualities and limitations of the mind. All the 7 principles are aspects of the one principle, but even this one principle is only a temporary and periodic ray of eternal and infinite flame of fire. Darkness alone filled the boundless all. For Father, Mother, and Son were once more one, and the Son hadn't yet awakened yet for the new wheel and his pilgrimage thereon. So the Son hasn't yet awakened for the new wheel and his pilgrimage thereon. There was no ray of eternal and an infinite flame of fire. The Son hasn't yet awakened for the new wheel and his pilgrimage thereon. There was no yet ray eternal, and there was no yet flame of fire. The uniform darkness filled boundless all. Thank you so much for the...
That is how we see this logical structure, and therefore we can understand that it can be shown as an image. We took the robe of it and saw what it was like, and then we returned to this condition of eternal, unrevealed darkness and light that are unseparated and are in a state of absolute reality. Dear participants of the scientific and research group, dear speakers, thank you very much for these materials you presented today, and thank you for analysis of Sloka 5. Everybody has shared the thoughts and experience that is invaluable. And I'd like to ask everyone to make comments and to express thoughts concerning the subject of today's discussion. Dear Iphigenia Gastamoniki, Theosophical Society of Greece and the European School of Theosophy, you are welcome, please.
Thank you, Alexandra. On behalf of the European School of Theosophy, I want to congratulate all. Those were great presentations, and the Andaman Lodge is doing a great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, dear Dr. Han Kwang, South Korea. Please tell us a few words, if you don't mind.
Thank you very much. It was very helpful lectures. I think there are two important concepts today. The first one is darkness. Today the scientists still going research about the dark matter in the universe. They assume half of the matter is dark matter in the universe at this moment. So it makes a great role scientifically. So they investigating and make some calculations about the dark matter in the universe. So it's connected to this, Blavatsky's lectures. So it's curious to me. And the second one is the Trinity, the Holy Trinity. In Christianity, Blavatsky mentioned about that three persons are the God and the Son and the Spirit. The God Father and the Son, I understand is matched, but the second one, Mother, is different from the Spirit. So Blavatsky mentioned about that the Sophia, Spirit comes from Sophia. Sophia is the word of Greek. I'm not Greek, but as I know, the Sophia means the wisdom in Greek. So it's connected to the Buddhism, because the absolute is the in Buddhism is the wisdom, the great wisdom. So we have to investigate about the connections, but the difference is that the length of time. Christian length, actually the history length is about 6,000 years, but Buddhism, the whole length is about like age of the universe. So more than 10 billion years. So it's not much in time. So we have to consider about that. And I think we can find some kind of...
Господину Хан Квану большое спасибо за ваши комментарии.
Thank you very much.
Madam Anna Kelly, Theosophical Society of the Great Britain, please.
Hello, thank you so much. Fantastic presentations by all. I wanted to thank Vladimir, Gary, fantastic presentation. Vladimir talking about the white bull and the dragon, all of the altruistic thought. Gary, this is his first time here. Absolutely fantastic job. Symbolism is beautiful on symbolism. Petra, if anybody knows about these slokas and stanzas, it is you. It is so wonderful to see you present. Kishore, fantastic. Love that you brought in the Krishna quotes and the cycles. Luke, as always, thank you for your in-depth commentary, your academic, talking about it's a poetic understanding. And Eugenia, thank you so much for everything that you add with your insights as well. At the beginning of The Secret Doctrine, it is said that this work is dedicated to all true theosophists in every country and of every race, and for they called it forth, and for them it was recorded. This is extremely important work done here. Thank you to the Adamant Lodge, to all of the translators, to all of you. It is an honor to be here with you. Thank you. You are changing the world for the third millennium. Thank you. I love you.
With love to you, Anne. Thank you. And would like to hear several words from Mr. Pandey, Theosophical Society of India, United Lodge of India. Mr. Pandey, please tell us a few words.
Thank you, Sister Gilner. And first of all, I congratulate all the speakers, Gary, Petra, Meyer, Duke Michael, and Shore, and also you and President of the Adamant Lodge for arranging this wonderful program. They've been participating since last many months. Today's presentation by all the speakers have given deep insight into this sloka. And this sloka is very important sloka to mind because this represents whole thing, all the stages of the manifestation, starting from darkness to father, mother, and the pilgrimage of the sun. And this is also represents the whole cycle of man, the manifestation, right from the womb of the mother to the coming out in the world and going again into the pralaya, into after death. So the whole cycle is represented by this sloka. The darkness, the first chapter has been very thoroughly explained by all the speakers, but still I'd like to add a few words. The darkness is represented in almost all ancient philosophy. In Sufi philosophy, they call Ama, and in Greek philosophy, they have mentioned, unto this darkness is beyond light, we pray that we may come and attain into vision through the law of sight and knowledge, that we begin to see that super essential darkness, which is hidden by all the light that's in existence. That means this ultimate darkness, which is the absolute light, cannot be perceived by a human being because we are involved in the relative lights of the world. Whatever knowledge we have got, whatever perception we have got, all are relative. Unless we reach that level when we can perceive the super darkness. That is why in Hindu mythology, the Shiva, the first Logos, is always shown meditating, his eyes closed. That means he's meditating on what that darkness is trying to realize himself, the darkness, and that is the ultimate aim of every soul moving on this journey of perfection. The subsequent philosophy, as in Bhagavad Gita, it was the darkness is not mentioned, but they have said in this sloka that light beyond light, or sun behind the darkness. So the interpretation of that great source, that means absolute, has been going on from the ancient philosophy to modern philosophy to the various scriptures. And with this, I would like to conclude my remarks. Again, thank you all the speakers and organizers for this wonderful program. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sergey Vitalyevich Koganov, he is from Moscow Asian Institution Department, Russia, Moscow. A few words. All right, welcome all, dear friends. I'm deeply admired by the depth of the presentation which we have heard today. So, surprisingly enough, but the concise nature of the fifth sloka allowed the presenters to create their comprehensive and deep comments. And in this regard, I would like to remind you of the Vedanta words saying that understanding of the reality should be done not through learning specific objects, but through extracting our organs of senses from them and through thinking over everything eternal which is behind these things which are unreal and temporal. And again, Augustine also said that I would like to know only two realities, the God and the soul, and everything else in the end just distracts us from the reality. Thank you. Sergey Vitalyevich, thank you so much. And today we have the members of Untitled Lodge of the Theosophical Society of Russia, Konstantin Zaitsev. If you could say a few words, then you are welcome to do so.
Я хотел, во-первых, поблагодарить миссис
I
Майер.
would like to thank Madam Meyer from the English section for specifying the difference between the two cosmos and the frequent mistakes in printing. I would like to say that maybe in esoteric instructions, which were printed by personal requests of Madame Blavatsky, maybe they contain less mistakes. And also in the protocols of the Blavatsky Lodge, which were issued as in the magazine Lucifer, issued by her as well. So maybe there are some copies to these articles in this particular publications, including this type of information. Maybe we can search for it. And also, I would like to thank Mr. Angale from India for specifying this meaning of the words, which we can often hear in mantras, but we don't really understand them that well. So thank you so much. Konstantin Untitled Lodge, thank you so much. We hope that next time you will join us as well. And I can see that we have Mikhail Sharativ connected as well. Oh, if you could say a few words, could you please introduce yourself and just use 1 minute to say a few words. Good afternoon, dear friends. Can you hear me well? Okay, so I welcome you all here, and I would like to say that everything has been arranged beautifully, and it's been sort of a cycle. So Vladimir started from a creative circle, from dragon, from wisdom, and then we were talking about the white hair between life and death, giving us knowledge. So I think that it is just amazing, and Eugenia concluded it with beautiful fundamental systematization. And also the previous speakers in this regard complemented each other's words, citing from Krishna, Bhagavad Gita, Vedanta, and of course, the most important is Madame Blavatsky, presented here. I would like to clarify one thing, though. The fifth sloka is, well, number 5, the symbol of Manas, of 5, as every number there. Well, there are, of course, particular essences. And these are about cycles, the fifth sense, the fifth center. And Manas manifested itself from the unknowable and hidden with the help of the great forehead, which creates these links of forms. And yeah, these forms, these ornaments, you know, like on Japanese pictures, it has been presented today as a comprehensive picture of life where the human itself bears with this symmetry. Thank you so much. Mikhail Nikolaevich, thank you so much for such a precise summary. And as usual, we would like to hear those who have joined us for the first time. Dear Mr. Gary Kidgell, could you say a few words about, well, what you think about today? We are very grateful for your participation today. Just a few words, Mr. Kidgell.
It's been both an enlightening and a very inspiring afternoon for me here in Scotland. I convey my thanks to Vladimir and Eugenia for hosting this. to the various speakers. I can obviously say Petra and Luke because I'm looking at them. And also we had Kishori, whose presentation I really enjoyed. It's been a wonderful afternoon, and I hope everyone has derived as much enjoyment and energy from the afternoon as I have. Thank you very much, and thank you, Anastasia, for the translation, and also Alexandra, of course. Thank you.
Дорогой Гарри, огромное спасибо.
Dear Gary, thank you so much. Petra Meyer has also joined us for the first time today, and we would like to know your thoughts about the event. If you could say a few words, you're still on, dear Petra Meyer.
Well, as Gary already said, you know, it is amazing how many aspects a subject has. You know, we had all the same stanza, and the wisdom came from all directions, and that really triggers our intuition, you know. And that was quite amazing to listen to all the speakers. And I thank you very much for this interesting afternoon.
Thank you so much. I would like to also sum up this event. So, as I believe, the darkness is there, but what does it give? It gives us such an aspect as this, you see, this united darkness, the absolute consciousness, which is the great unity. Well, imagine on the spiritual plane, yes, it is so. There can be a combination of this with darkness as potentials, this darkness. However, in the manifested world, there can be no coexistence of darkness and light. And these are very important details as well, signifying the spiritual and material planes. This is an important difference, and the synthesis of it is already given in the 5th shloka. Thank you so much. And we thank all the listeners who stayed with us till the end and had an opportunity to experience this beautiful energy of knowledge, of research, of the fundamental work, which is the secret doctrine. We also thank our interpreters, Anastasia, Alexandra, Maria, and Sergey, who during the whole seminar conducted this interpretation and helped us to communicate with each other. Dear listeners, if you have any questions or opinions, please write them to us. Now there will be a banner with contact information where you can see our address, and we are always in touch. So, as usual, when we interact this way afterwards, you will be able to ask your questions after maybe contemplating all of them. And during this whole month, we will prepare together to the study of the 6th shloka, which will also be very interesting. You will hear to some presenters, some speakers who have not been with us before, and we will have new discoveries because it is all happening now at this very moment, which is unique. Thank you so much. Thank you, dear speakers, presenting your unique scientific research. Thank you, the members of the research group, which have been closely following the presentations and helped us to sum up the concepts, the aspects touched upon. And we thank you all for the important work performed by you worldwide for the benefit of Theosophy. We do not say goodbye. Please write your remarks, write your suggestions. Let's stay in touch because it is easy to be together. See you on the 29th of May, 3 p.m. Moscow time, when the next seminar will be held. Light and love.
The Secret Doctrine by Blavatsky. Dedicated to all true Theosophists. Book of the 3rd millennium.
Blavatsky only knew.